guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm finally sitting down to film this video that has been highly requested from a few of my subscribers. Today's video is a Q&A, and this is about my daughter Paisley, who has autism. For those of you who are new, welcome, and for those of you who don't know my story, I have two children. I have two little girls. My oldest daughter, Paisley, is 3.5, and Paisley was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. And I have a almost 2-year-old, Avery, who will be 2 next month, December 27th, and I can't believe it. Where has the time gone? So I have two girls that are exactly 22 months apart to the day. So I have gotten a few questions from some of the viewers since you guys have been following me now throughout my journey on YouTube for the last a little over a year. You guys have gotten to see my children grow up and just kind of see different aspects of our life each day. So some of you wanted to know a little bit more about Paisley. So I have a few questions here from a couple of viewers that I'm going to just go through and answer for you. The first question being, how old was Paisley when she was diagnosed with autism? So, by the way, we're filming in Paisley's room, by the way. I thought it was a perfect setting just to be in Paisley's room. And I'll just show you a little bit of her room after I finish with this video. When I finish with the Q&A, I will just kind of give you a little tour of Paisley's room. Okay, so how old was Paisley when she was first diagnosed with autism? Paisley was 2.5 years old when she was first diagnosed. So she was diagnosed in August of 2017, so a little over a year ago. It was something that wasn't too much of a surprise, because what prompted me to seek some help in the beginning was around Paisley's second birthday. We noticed that she really wasn't talking a lot like her other peers, like other children at 2. We're normally saying like a couple of words. Paisley honestly really wasn't saying much, and when she did say things, it was just a lot of jargon, a lot of the baby talk, and she was throwing a few signs in there because I had taught her sign language through Rachel Coleman's baby signing time, and so she had been exposed to sign language videos and learning about signing time since she was infant. So one of the red flags honestly was her lack of speech, but one thing that I noticed that I didn't pay attention to at the time was that Paisley had more vocabulary at infancy. So when she was about 9 months old, she did a lot of signing. She could sign more and milk and different things, but she also could say things like she could point to a light and say light. And then over time, over the next couple of months, her vocabulary started to dissipate and disappear. And that's something at the time I didn't really think too much of. I thought, oh, she's just a very quiet child. She's shy. She doesn't like to talk a lot. But that actually is one of the red flags for autism, is if your child starts off with a pretty good vocabulary, and then you notice the words getting fewer and fewer and they stop talking. So that's kind of what happened. But around Paisley's second birthday, I mentioned at her 24-month checkup that I was a little bit concerned about her lack of vocabulary. So that prompted a whole series of referrals to outside specialists. So we sought the help of a speech therapist, and she actually came in home to work with Paisley, and she always told me she would be upfront with me and very candid in which she was. And she said, I'm going to be candid with you, but I do see a lot, some of the behaviors that would flag her for having autism. And some of those behaviors were walking on her tiptoes, staring into mirrors, which I noticed when we started ballet at 2 years old, or just under 2. She really was drawn to the mirror. She loved the mirror, but she would always just kind of stare into the mirror, not just like, oh, look at me, but just really, engaging just herself in the mirror. So we noticed a few different behaviors, which then prompted my speech therapist to have me kind of go get her tested. We sought out a very well-known, respected doctor in the field, and she was able to do an assessment. And honestly, the assessment was so good, I didn't even know it was an assessment. I thought we were just there answering questions, and the whole time she was assessing Paisley, I thought it was okay, she's watching her play. But she was so good in her assessments that she was able to diagnose Paisley then and there. The assessment literally took maybe about an hour. She already knew, she was writing diligently. And so at the end of our visit, she diagnosed Paisley with autism. And she said she was on the high end of the spectrum, so she was high functioning. It was a mild form of autism. Now, it is a spectrum because there's different degrees that a person can be on the spectrum. So not everyone that has autism is alike, and not everyone with autism shows, you know, the same signs of having autism, if you will. So to answer the question, Paisley was 2.5. Okay, so moving into the second question, which I feel like I kind of answered. I jumped ahead of myself telling you guys about Paisley's diagnosis. The second question is Paisley on the severe end of the spectrum? If yes, what are the main difficulties that she developed symptoms of autism? So Paisley is on the high functioning end of autism of the spectrum. She has mild autism, which means she's able to be in, I guess, a regular setting and not have too many difficulties. Like noise doesn't really bother her too much. Sometimes, you know, we'll notice that she'll plug her ears, and that's honestly a lot of the time she's tuning someone out, or she may just not like a specific song. But as far as the difficulties of being on the spectrum, you know, she really doesn't show a lot of symptoms as, you know, like where she has to wear like the noise canceling headphones. Noise doesn't really bother her. It's not a factor. So she's on the very high functioning end. She loves to do things that other kids love to do. And I'll get into that in just a minute. But let's move into the third question, which is, are you considering putting Paisley on a gluten-free, casein-free diet? If yes, what sort of diet does she consist of? Or I guess, what sort of diet does she have currently? So gluten-free, casein-free, of course, people have done studies, and I think a lot of people feel like that is great for children on the spectrum, or for anyone on the spectrum. It's good anyway for, I feel like, you know, just your overall health. Honestly, oh, that's Paisley. Sorry guys, that here's her sound machine. It's set to voice activation, so if she wakes up in the middle of the night and she makes noise, she has soothing sound. She's had that since she was about an infant, so we still sleep with that on. But anyway, so I don't have Paisley on a gluten-free, casein-free diet right now. The reason being is because she's already limited with her foods. She's very picky in what she eats, and those of you who are familiar with children on the spectrum, and children are picky anyway, they're picky eaters, but especially children on the spectrum, they don't like to break from routine. They like what they like, so she likes certain foods and that's it. And so honestly, I don't want to limit her intake of nutrients by trying to introduce gluten-free. Of course, I would love if she, you know, would like the healthier gluten-free foods, but her diet's already pretty healthy anyway. I give my family organic foods as much as possible. So we eat organically, so we're eating healthy, but I don't try to restrict what she already eats, because she already eats, her diet is so limited. I feel like if maybe she was open to eating more foods and open to trying new foods, I think then at that point I would definitely move her towards a gluten-free, casein-free diet. But because she is so limited, I don't really enforce that. Paisley eats a few things. One of them, like in the mornings, Paisley likes yogurt. So any type of yogurt, whether it's Go-Gurt, the Danimals drinkable yogurt, whether it's yogurt pouches. Usually what I try to give her is the Stonyfield organic yogurt pouches. And like the Stonyfield organic Go-Gurts, but I also give her like Yoplait Go-Gurts and things like that, so I'm not, very rigid in that. She also loves Greek yogurt, non-fat vanilla Greek yogurt, which I love because it's packed with protein and it's really good for her. And so you say hi. Sorry, her hair is a mess right now. We're actually getting ready for therapy, and so Paisley loves non-fat vanilla Greek yogurt, which I love because it's packed with protein, which is something that she needs to get a lot of, and potassium, and just good things. So normally her breakfast, and she likes yogurt any time of day, and she actually honestly will ask for yogurt all day long. It's kind of like a child asking for ice cream. She thinks she's getting like this amazing treat by eating yogurt, which I love. So some mornings she'll have yogurt. She loves grapes, and they have to be green. And children on the spectrum, and just individuals on the spectrum, they like routine, they like consistency, and a lot of the times their food aversions have to do with the color, the texture, the shape, even the smell of a food. So she will not eat red grapes. She will only eat green grapes. So that's one of the fruits that Paisley will eat. So green grapes, yogurt, Eggo cinnamon toast waffles. They have to be Eggo brand, the cinnamon toast. She knows what the box looks like, so if you try to give her anything else, she won't touch it. So only Eggo cinnamon toast waffles. We are working with her occupational therapist in trying to introduce new foods and trying to get her to at least touch them, smell them, maybe even taste them. I know one day she will just try different foods, but for right now, she's very rigid in what she wants to eat. Another food that she likes is the cinnamon toast, or I'm sorry, what is it? The French toast sticks. It could be any brand. She doesn't really care about the brand, but it has to be like the cinnamon toast sticks or the cinnamon toast bites that you get from the frozen section. She likes those. She likes bagel bites. She likes pizza. Usually any type of pizza will do. She loves Papa John's, Little Caesars. Little Caesars is a favorite, and she knows the box. So she gets really excited when she gets a Little Caesars pizza, which is awesome because they're only $5 and they're hot and ready. She loves going to Cece's Pizza. I know some people probably think Cece's is gross. It's actually really good. I like it because you can get pizza, salad, pasta, soup, dessert. So when we go there, she thinks it's like the best day ever. I mean, she'll really eat any pizza. So she won't eat DiGiorno. I've tried to buy the frozen, even like the organic frozen pizzas at home and cook them, and she just does not like those. So she will not touch those, but delivery, takeout pizza, she'll eat from pretty much anywhere. And then she doesn't really eat meat. She used to eat chicken nuggets. She used to eat turkey dogs, turkey hot dogs, but we're going to try to reintroduce some of those things back into her diet. After she was diagnosed, she actually did eat those things like different chicken nuggets, whole grain, Purdue whole grain chicken nuggets, but she stopped liking that, and that's usually what happens anyway with toddlers. They're picky, but Paisley stopped liking certain foods, stopped eating them. So that's pretty much her diet. And then she also loves the Plum Organics pouches that you usually find in the baby section, but it has to be Plum Organics. And it's the peach banana apricot. She will only take that brand. She knows what it looks like. I mean, it took a while because they redid their packaging. So I even had to convince her to try it because it was in a new packaging. I'm like, no. But luckily we were successful with that. So that's pretty much the only pouch she'll eat. So that way she at least gets fruits, different variety of fruits in. She will eat bananas sometimes though, not every day. And then snacks that she likes, she loves goldfish. She loves Annie's organic cheddar bunnies. She loves graham crackers. She loves chocolate chip cookies. She loves M&Ms. She loves Skittles. She loves fruit snacks. So she looks forward to getting vitamins. I do give her vitamins daily and iron pills because of her lack of eating different foods, she doesn't always get a lot of nutrients. So I make up for the nutrients by having her take a multivitamin every day, and usually it's like a Flintstone gummy, and then some dissolvable, chewable children's iron tablets. But she also loves the Pediasure shakes, and I love giving her those because, you know, she doesn't get a whole lot of nutrients in those other foods, not, you know, what she really truly needs. So it kind of fills those nutrition gaps, and it's like a treat for her. She thinks she's getting like a shake from McDonald's or something, but it's really healthy. So I love that she loves that. The next question is, what is the most difficult thing about being a mother of a child with autism? The most difficult thing about being a mother of a child with autism is honestly the different schedule. Your life changes drastically once your child is diagnosed, because before she was diagnosed, I feel like we were able to go as we please, do whatever, and now we have therapies. We have different therapies that Paisley has to work into her everyday life just to, I don't want to say just to be able to live, which, isn't true. It's so she can adapt to the world because her brain is wired differently and she thinks differently. So she has to have this rigid schedule of therapies, at least for the next couple of years, every single day, or at least 5 days a week. Which brings me to the next question is, what does Paisley's routine consist of? So right now, before we moved to Fort Eustis, Paisley, we lived on post at Fort Bragg on housing post. It wasn't main post. And so there, Paisley attended a DoD, Department of Defense school, which for preschool was for the gifted program for children with special needs that were gifted, that just had, different, abilities. And so Paisley would attend a preschool program there. She would get ABA in the mornings, Monday through Friday, for 3 hours a day. We had an ABA tech come in the home and work with Paisley from 9 to 12, and then she would go to preschool from 12:15. We would walk over to the school because it was right across the street. She would go to preschool from 12:15 to 2:45, and then at preschool she would get different therapies on different days. So she would get speech therapy and occupational therapy, but now that we've moved, we're still waiting to start ABA. So right now, Paisley only does speech therapy and occupational therapy on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and she'll go for an hour and a half each time. So Avery and I just kind of sit and wait for her, and she'll work with her therapist on her speech and with her OT on, simple movements like hand over hand, just how to hold a fork properly, or, trying to navigate riding a bicycle or introducing new foods. So that's what her schedule consists of right now. We're still waiting to start ABA, and it's been a few months. It's a little frustrating, but I am enjoying all of the free time that I get with Paisley, spending more time with her at home. And it actually has been helpful being here at Eustis because she has been playing with the kids in our neighborhood every single day. We have one neighbor that comes over and swings with her every day, and they've actually become good friends. And Paisley, just the other day, it was the first sign of her first real friend because she actually interacted with her. She played tag with her. And if you don't know, a lot of children with autism do not interact with other kids. They are very socially awkward in a sense. They don't really like to be social. It's uncomfortable for them to be in social settings because they don't really understand social cues and what being social is all about. So it's different for them. It's very difficult for them. But Paisley it's kind of, playtime has been a therapy since we've been here, and I've been really blessed to have a lot of neighbors that really understand and love Paisley and are patient with her. And so she's been outside playing, and so that's really helped a lot. How to kind of interact. She's learned how to be social, how to interact with children, and wanting to do that. So Paisley's schedule is pretty open right now as far as not being limited, but once she begins ABA, it will be a very rigorous schedule, and she'll be doing 40 hours of ABA a week, learning to just adapt to society in a sense. And so with such a rigorous schedule though, they want to be aggressive with her treatment for ABA. And so they said, because she's on the high end of the spectrum, she will phase out of ABA maybe after a couple of years. So maybe just the next 2 to 5 years, just depending on how she does. And then, she should be adapted. And but we'll see how that goes. That could change. Next question is, do you have any biggest fears for Paisley's future? My biggest fear is constantly Paisley being treated differently. And that was honestly the biggest fear. That's what honestly, the only aspect of her diagnosis in the beginning that made me cry and it made me just weep for her future was I don't want her to be treated differently. We live in a cruel world where people are just, you hear a lot about bullying and just kids being so mean to each other. And my biggest fear is that, she will be treated differently. I don't want her to be bullied. I don't want her to be made fun of for being different. I don't want her to be taken advantage of in any way. So that's just always a constant fear. But I feel like, in a sense, though, the awareness is spreading, and autism has become more common now, and so people are more aware of autism. They're learning more about autism, symptoms of autism, how individuals with autism think, how their brain works. So the good thing with time is that the awareness has increased. So a lot of people are more accepting and understanding of autism. But my biggest fears, honestly, are truly that I just don't want her to be treated differently. Okay, so next question is, because autism is possibly genetic disability, do you think there's a 50-50 chance that Avery may be autistic as well? Yes, that's something that does concern me. It honestly didn't when Avery was an infant. She was she was completely different than Paisley, and she still is a completely different person. But then as she got older, she would kind of do a lot of the same stimming things that Paisley does, like the finger movements. She'll do that a lot. Avery rocks. If you notice in some of the videos, I always, you might catch her rocking just back and forth against a chair or a couch. And a lot of the times, neurotypical children, children that are not on the spectrum, will present stimming behaviors. I've seen stimming behaviors in my friends' children that don't have autism. Sometimes children just need something that soothes them. And then when Avery was a baby, I used to have that bouncy chair for her, and she loved spending her time in that. She would fall asleep in that all of the time. And so when I took that away, she didn't have that stimulatory, her favorite thing to do. So she was seeking sensory in other ways, and so that's when she began to rock. But it still concerns me a little bit. I'm not terrified that Avery may be autistic. Of course it does scare me, because I'm thinking, okay, I have another child with special needs, and then thinking of another rigorous schedule. The good thing is, though, I'm just so aware of autism now. I think at first it's scary, because especially if you're not familiar with it and you don't know, if you don't really know about autism all that much, it's scary. But I think now, even if Avery was diagnosed with autism, it's okay. It's okay to be different. It would be good. The good aspects are they have each other. They can lean on each other. They both have the same they would have the same diagnosis if that were the case. But it's something, yes, I worry about. But at the same time, I'm gonna love her no matter what, with or without autism. So I'm not going to spend too much time being worried about her possibly having autism, if that makes any sense. Okay, next question. Because autism, oh no, we already did that. Okay, the last question is, do you have any words to say to your audience who's watching you right now? The only thing I have to say is that always be aware. I think before autism, before I truly learned about it, I honestly would sometimes I would judge parents. I'm like, why is their kid acting like that? Or why is their kid in a stroller? Or why are they doing this or catering to their kids? You never know what a child or a parent may be going through. So don't be quick to judge. Always think of the possibility that, there may be a disability or a handicap involved. So always practice patience, always practice kindness, always practice understanding, acceptance, and just be aware that there may be something else going on. So don't be quick to judge. Another tip I may have for parents who may be possibly facing autism with their children: don't be afraid. Don't let the word autism scare you, because I know it scared me at first. It literally, every time I heard it, I would shake. My eyes would start watering up, and I would just start shaking anytime the mention of autism. Paisley might have autism, because I was nervous. I didn't really know until I dug deeper. And autism doesn't mean that your child can't do things. It does not mean that at all. It just means that their brains are wired differently, and you have to take a different approach. So don't be discouraged. Don't get down in the dumps. Don't be depressed about it. If anything, be so excited that your child is different, because it means they're going to do some amazing things. There are a lot of people who have autism that are celebrities that you might not even know about. So just go do some research on autism. Go to autismspeaks.org where you can find out more information about autism, the statistics, the diagnosis itself, how you can get help for you or your child. But yeah, don't let it discourage you. Don't be afraid of it, because honestly, once you learn about autism, you realize, yes, your child is different. All it means is that you just have to take life in a different approach. So, you know, things that you thought you were going to be able to do, just honestly let go of what you thought life was going to be like. The sooner you do that, the better you're going to be. I mean, that's one thing I had to do for myself, was to let go of that, you know, that image of what my life was going to be like. And I would sometimes think, oh, you know, when Paisley was a baby, we're going to do this when she's 2 and she's going to go to this school and she's going to do this. So just let go of that, because you're on a different playing field now and you have to take a different approach. But it's so worth it in the long run, because your child is going to get the services they need. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, be your child's biggest advocate. The sooner they get the services they need, the better they're going to be, the better receptive they're going to be to their therapies, and they can, you know, just adapt without difficulties in this world. Just don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid of the word autism, because autism is amazing, honestly, and it's so inspiring. And I now know so much about it, but I am Paisley's biggest advocate. And I never, ever stop sharing our story. I never feel ashamed to say that Paisley has autism. I never hesitate to tell people. Yes, there are times on the playground where I get a little antsy because I know a situation is going to arise, or I might have to explain to a child or tell a parent. But for the most part, it's been so easy. Children ask questions. They may ask questions, and parents may ask questions, and it's okay, because it's good to ask questions rather than stay away or point fingers or, you know, label another child as different. They want to know, hey, what's going on? Why does she do this? And I love that. So just don't be afraid. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I was able to answer all of your questions. If you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to leave me a comment below. If you would like to see a video more about Paisley, a day in the life of Paisley, anything, I would be more than happy to film that for you guys. But thank you so much for watching. Oh, let me give you a quick tour of Paisley's room. So here is Paisley's door, and I just have her name with these little sticker foam letters. This is when you first walk in her room. I have this cross I bought when I was pregnant for this child. I have prayed Bible verse, 1 Samuel 1:27. And here we are. This is Paisley's room. Sorry about the mess. Her and Avery love playing with their puzzles. Avery loves doing puzzles. So does Paisley. So they're always playing puzzles. But this is her room. And sorry, I've got my things in here. Obviously, I was just filming this video, so I've got my tripod. But yeah, this is Paisley's room. We have her hamper, her dresser. We don't really use her changing table too much. I mean, I still use it just to kind of set her on sometimes when I'm getting her dressed, but we really don't use it. Over here is a bin of toys. These were actually therapy toys from her speech therapist that used to come to the house to work with. So yeah, these were toys that we used to have when Paisley's speech therapist came to the house to work with her. So just different things, and we just kind of kept this little toy bin, just of different things. So the kids still play with stuff in there. We have this tunnel that actually goes with her tent, but I just never leave it up because it just takes up so much room. This is her rocking horse that she got for her very first Christmas. She still likes to get on. This is her nightstand. This is that sound machine, by the way, that always comes on every time I talk. It's set to voice activation. I'm going to have to take that off. But yeah, see, if I talk, it comes on. But she's had that since she was an infant in her room. She's got some books down here. She loves books. And this is her bed. We did have her toddler bed, which was her crib. It converted to a toddler bed, but because Paisley is so tall, we just went ahead and got her a full-size bed last year. Pretty much when she turned 3, she got this bed. So yeah, this is pretty much it. She loves playing in her tent. Usually she'll just kind of hide out in her tent with books and some stuffed animals. Sometimes she takes the iPad in there and likes to play and just watch her shows like Sophia the First and Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. I got that really cute picture of a castle and carriage at think I got that from Home Goods when we first moved here. And here are some pictures on the wall. That was one of Paisley's newborn pictures. Will loves basketball, so we had her pose on a basketball. She was like 10 days old when we did those pictures. This was one of my first, that was actually the first 3D sonogram I had at, I think, 20 weeks. So that's just baby Paisley in the womb. And then here is a picture of Paisley, sorry about the glare, when she was born in the hospital. And then up here above her dresser, I have more of her newborn pictures. I had a good friend that was a photographer. She's kind of retired her photography skills, but she did these amazing pictures, and they're just so amazing. I never want to take these down. Also, one thing I do want to hang that I got for her first birthday was this. I still haven't put it on the wall yet, but those are all of Paisley's little stats. You know, those cutesy little posters you can do for their first birthday, but I need to hang that on the wall. But this is Paisley's room. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you liked this video. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave me a comment below. And if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you so much, guys. We love you. Bye. Yes,